Can you recognize when your body is saying enough food? Can you recognize the fullness cues your body is giving you? If not, stay tuned, because it's incredibly important to recognize those signals so that you can become free around food. And in this video, I'm going to share with you 2 cues that your body is giving you that will help you recognize fullness every single time. And for the best advice on how to overcome emotional eating and how to reach food freedom you so desire, subscribe to my channel and click the bell button so that you can be notified every time I post. All right, now let's get started. Let me tell you, when I was still struggling with food, I was a member of the Clean Your Plate Club. Can anyone relate? Let me know in the comments below. But that basically meant I ate everything that was on my plate, regardless of what my body was saying, regardless of whether I was feeling full or not. If something was on my plate, I ate it. And I couldn't understand people around me, people that had a normal relationship with food, that could just leave a couple of bites on the plate. Like, how is that possible, right? And I just couldn't. I disregarded my body's signals and simply stopped eating when my plate was empty. But since then, I got smarter. I realized that if I ever wanted to reach food freedom, it was incredibly important I started listening to my own body. Because when I started to do that, when I started to respect my hunger and fullness cues, I really became free around food, because that is the magic that we're all searching for. And now I'm teaching women all over the world on how to make peace with food. And this is one of the first things we start working on, listening to our own bodies. It's incredibly important. So let's get started with signal number 1, with cue number 1. And this one is that food just isn't as tasty as it was at the beginning when you started eating. Now, have you ever noticed how incredibly delicious food is when you're truly hungry, when you're physically hungry? Have you ever noticed that? It tastes so amazing, as if the best chef in the world would prepare it, right? I'm sure you all had that experience. Now, that is because our taste receptors are so much more sensitive when we are truly hungry. We're just tasting everything so much better. But as we get fuller and fuller, we don't taste it anymore as fully as before, because our taste receptors lose that sensitivity a bit, right? So as we get fuller, the food just isn't as tasty as it was at the beginning. It's still good, it's still delicious, but we kind of lose interest for it. And if you have little children or babies around you, you can see it in action. When they are hungry, they will eat. They will be fully interested in the food. They will eat mindfully. They will be present with their food. And when they will start getting full, they will kind of lose interest for it. It's just how it works. And this is how we all were doing it, right? But then we got so conditioned from the environment and just learned that we have to diet and that we can't trust our bodies, which is crazy, totally crazy, because we totally can, and it's just the best way to do it, because then we become free. But here's the thing, in order for all of this to work, in order for you to actually stop eating when you're feeling the fullness coming, it's incredibly important that you have full permission for eating all the foods, that you don't have restrictions around food groups, around times of the day when you're eating, around quantities. It's going to be incredibly important that you don't have any kind of rules around it. Because if you do, and you're going to recognize that you're getting full, that food isn't as interesting anymore, what's going to happen is that you won't want to stop eating. Because let's say, for example, you're eating a chocolate cake, right? And you're allowing yourself the cake only from time to time, not always, right? And you're just allowing it, I don't know, let's say once per month. And then when that time of the month comes, when you allow yourself to have the chocolate cake, even though you're going to feel that you're getting full, you will not want to stop eating it, because you'll know that you won't be able to have it for another month, right? And so that is why it's incredibly important you start making peace with all of the food groups, all of the foods, times of the day, that you can fully allow yourself to eat anything you want and listen to your body at the same time for hunger and fullness cues, right? You see, even though you can recognize the fullness cues, if you're still in the restriction mentality, it's going to be hard to stop eating then. And so, yeah, I just wanted to put it out there. And if you need help with that, definitely let me know in the comments below, and I'll make more videos on how to make peace with food and just clear all the rules. Now let's get started with cue number 2, how you know that you're getting fuller and fuller and that it's time to stop eating. So cue number 2 is when you're getting elegantly satisfied, it's time to stop eating. Now what I mean by that is, let me explain. When I was still struggling with food, I heard this saying that I should stop eating when my stomach is 80% full. Now, I don't know about you, but I have no idea when my stomach is 80% full. And so I was trying to figure it out as I was eating. Okay, how full am I? Am I 70% full, 80% full? I had no idea. And so even if that would be true, which is not, and if I would even know when I'm 80% full, and if I would then try to eat until my stomach is 80% full, let's say I'm eating juicy medjool dates. I love them. And imagine if I would eat as many as needed so that my stomach would be 80% full. I am pretty sure in most cases I would feel completely stuffed. That would be way too much because they're very, very calorie dense, right? And so it's not really true that we have to stop eating when our stomach is 80% full. How I like to teach it to my clients is that you stop eating when you are elegantly satisfied. So if we look at the hunger scale, and 0 is neutral, 0 is when you are not hungry and not full at all, just like neutral, and -5 is ravenous, and +5 is Thanksgiving stuffed. You want to stop eating when you are at around 2. So not when you're completely stuffed, but when you're kind of nicely, pleasantly satisfied. And this is what I call elegantly satisfied. And to best know when you're at that point, I want you to ask yourself these 2 questions. Number 1, would I be comfortable doing yoga right now? Now, even if you don't do it, just imagine doing all those poses and asanas. Would you be comfortable doing them? And question number 2 is, would I be comfortable to be intimate right now? Now, these 2 questions will definitely help you out to see whether you are a bit too full. And it's really, please have no judgments if you overeat, if you eat too much, because judging yourself and feeling the shame around it will never ever help you. It just creates more problems. Trust me, just try to be curious. If that happens, try to be fascinated and lovingly curious. Like, ask yourself questions like, oh, that's interesting. Why did I eat too much? What was going on? What was I feeling? And if you need help with that, definitely download my Emotional Eating SOS Toolkit that has the 5-minute ritual and all the tools that you need to really go deep in that moment so that you can stop doing it altogether. Again, I have to mention, if you're still in the cycle of controlling and restricting, it's going to be hard to stop when you're elegantly satisfied. That's one of the reasons, but there can be other reasons as well, emotional and subconscious programs that you might have. And so it's going to be important to go deep. So download my Emotional Eating SOS Toolkit for sure if you want to go deep with that. And I also want to mention this. In order to actually recognize these 2 cues, it's going to be incredibly important that you are present with your food, that you're eating mindfully and slowly, and that you are just eliminating all the distractions when you're eating, and that you're just eating when you're eating. Try to eat slowly and sensually. I actually recorded a whole video on this topic because it can help you reduce overeating so much. So if you're interested in that, click here and I will put the link here and you can go and check it out. And it will help you so much to reduce overeating for sure. But yeah, just try to minimize the distractions, be fully present with your food and eat sensually. This will also give you much more pleasure from food than otherwise. But also, here's a catch, you have to eat foods that you actually enjoy eating. Because if you're eating foods that you don't really enjoy, it's going to be hard to be fully present with your food because, you know, we don't want to be fully present with something that we don't like. So I encourage you to also experiment and find the foods that you actually love and that your body loves as well, so that you're feeling good as well. Now, if it ever happens that you cannot stop eating, even though you feel the fullness coming, please know that you're not alone. I was struggling with emotional eating for more than a decade, and I know how that feels. So I really want to support you even further and give you all the tools that you need in order to become free for good. So I put another goodie for you in the comments below. There's a link. You can watch my free masterclass on how to break free from emotional eating. Now, I would love to hear from you. Let me know in the comments, are you also a member of the Clean Your Plate Club? And are you ready to break free? I would love to hear from you. Type yes in the comments below or no if you're not, and let's connect. I know it can be scary to start practicing intuitive eating, especially if you're struggling with emotional eating. I've been there and I know how it is. So I'm here to help. You are not alone. So click the subscribe button if you'd like to hear more from me, and click the bell button as well so that you can be notified the next time I post. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.